Is that what you said, that you will protect Grandma? My voice was extremely hoarse, and the despair and hatred in my heart intertwined as if they were about to spill out from my chest. With a blank look in his eyes, Andrew froze on the spot, helpless. About half an hour later, the ambulance arrived at the hospital. My grandma was sent to the operating room. The doctor went in and out. I leaned against the wall with one hand still stained with my grandma's blood. A low sound of footsteps sounded in the cold corridor and approached. Selena. I lowered my head as if I hadn't heard it. Grandma. Grandma will be fine. Get out. After a moment of silence, Andrew's breath quickened. I really didn't know that things would develop like this. Grandma is also my family. How could I hurt her? I really didn't expect that Grandma would suddenly sober up. She is. Yes. My grandma's condition had been getting worse and worse in the past few years. She didn't remember anyone. The scene where my grandma screamed after seeing Andrew kissing Emma came to my mind. I looked up at Andrew and heard my dry and bitter voice. Do you know why Grandma suddenly sobered up? Andrew stared at me blankly. Because she didn't understand why you, the one she knew since you were a child, took her to a strange place and coaxed her to slander me, her granddaughter. She didn't understand why you, who said you wanted to marry me last year, kissed another woman affectionately and unscrupulously in front of her. Therefore, she was temporarily awake for a moment, and her eyes were full of grievance. She felt wronged for me. She felt sorry for me. I bit my lips tightly and felt the pain of suffocation. My internal organs seemed to be twisted by a sharp knife, so painful that I could hardly breathe. Andrew, if anything happens to my grandma, I will never forgive you all my life. With a pale face, Andrew subconsciously reached out to grab my hand but was violently shaken off by me. I told you to get out. My eyes were full of hatred. Andrew's lips trembled slightly, and his eyes gradually turned red. He stared at me blankly for a long time before he opened his mouth. Sorry. I was wrong. I was totally wrong. It's my fault for officially announcing my relationship with Emma. I was too anxious to let it go. Only the official announcement can shift the focus as soon as possible, and I can completely get you out of this matter. He knelt directly and cried in a helpless voice. Selena, you can scold me or hit me. Please don't look at me like this. Do you mean that you announced your relationship with another woman for my sake? I just feel ironic and ridiculous. Andrew, in fact, till now, you still don't think you are wrong, do you? The best way to get me out of this is to tell the truth, right? Andrew was stunned. Will you tell Emma the truth after you officially announce the relationship with her? Will you break up with her? You won't. Emma is so popular now. Being together with her will help you a lot. How can you let go of this opportunity? What's more, you have a crush on her, don't you? With a pale face, Andrew shook his head as if he was telling himself, no, it's not like that. I love you, Selena. I looked at him, and an indescribable bitterness spread. You said you loved me, but what you did hurt me deeply. You betrayed me and fell in love with someone else. You made me get bullied online to take a bullet for you, set me up to stay in a hotel, and then took the key to our home to erase the traces of our past. Gradually, my eyes blurred and I was choked with sobs. How ridiculous it is. Those gifts and visiting bills that I cherished most were destroyed by you in person. Andrew's face turned deathly pale. I looked at the operation light and closed my eyes painfully. But the last thing you should do is hurt Grandma. With tears in his eyes, Andrew wanted to explain something, but he could not refute it. It's obviously your fault. Is it so difficult to admit your mistake? Are your career and status so important? I'm sorry, said Andrew, lowering his head and trembling slightly. Looking at his depressed face, I kept silent for a while and took off the watch from my wrist. This watch was the one he gave me on our first Valentine's Day 8 years ago. He earned money by taking a part-time job and bought it. The watch didn't work anymore. Andrew didn't give me a watch this Valentine's Day, so I wore this watch again. Selena. Andrew seemed to have realized something, with a hint of helplessness and panic flashing in his eyes. Please, don't take it off. I squatted down and put the watch beside him, saying in a calm tone, now, our last memory is gone. With pleading in his eyes, Andrew grabbed my hand and his tears fell on the back of my hand. Selena, I'm going to apologize to everyone on Twitter now. I'll make everything clear. Please don't leave me. I looked at him calmly. It's too late. Taking out his phone and clicking on Twitter, Andrew choked with sobs. It won't be late. It won't be late. I'm going to. His voice stopped abruptly. The first trending topic he saw was their 8 years. It was Devon's tweet. 7 as I requested. Devon sent a video, a diagnosis report, and countless chat records of me and Andrew this year. Then he mentioned me. In the video, I sat on the bed and calmly narrated the 8 years of Andrew and me. I didn't slander him or exaggerate it. I just told everything exactly as it was. This was recorded when I was on a drip in the hospital 2 days ago. I clicked on the reviews below this tweet. Let me sum it up. She's not the other woman. She didn't break up with Andrew last year. Besides, she's not a psycho. Lies can be told, but the diagnosis certificate can't be false. She is a normal person. Scumbag. He has failed to women. I'm sorry. I am Emma's fan. I scolded you the first time when you used your own account to clarify it. I apologize to you solemnly. This man is so disgusting. In order to prove his innocence, he even framed his girlfriend as a psycho. Andrew, get out of showbiz. When Devon took me to the press conference, I gave him the evidence. I didn't expect him to be so efficient that his tweet was on the trending topic in just a few hours. The evidence was irrefutable, and the public opinion was reversed. Many fans unfollowed Andrew on Twitter. After a while, the hashtag Andrew, get out of showbiz became the second trending topic. The third trending topic was that Emma forwarded Devon's tweet, I was cheated. Soon, the topic feels sorry for two beautiful ladies also became a trending topic. I received a private message from Emma at this time. He never told me that he had a girlfriend. If my fans say something bad to you these days, I apologize to you on behalf of them. What's wrong with the trending topics? Andrew, haven't the chat records been deleted? Didn't you say that she loved you very much and wouldn't have any backups? Isabel's exasperated voice came from behind. She was wearing high heels and walking quickly, which was totally different from her usual arrogant and calm appearance. Andrew stood up and looked at me blankly, ignoring her. I didn't dodge but looked into his eyes. I have said that I will only give you 2 days to think about it. In the past 2 days, you haven't taken the initiative to clarify the truth, so I have to do it by myself. With his Adam's apple bobbing, Andrew couldn't utter a word. Do you really love him? Isabel stared at me with a complicated look in her eyes. Do you know how serious the consequences are now? And how many commercial endorsements have cancelled the cooperation with him? Just the high liquidated damages alone. Before Isabel could finish her words, a faint police whistle came from outside. Isabel widened her eyes in disbelief. You called the police? I did not answer. If the amount of reposting and influence of slander spread on Twitter reached a certain standard, the police would file a case. We had been together for 8 years. I didn't want to make a scene, and perhaps Andrew was convinced that I wouldn't call the police. But he shouldn't have taken my grandma away in order to clarify it. In a distance, Isabel seemed to be talking to someone with a frown. In the end, she put down her phone and said to Andrew in despair, Andrew, you are suspected of breaking the law. The company decided to shelve you. You're totally screwed. The air froze for a moment. However, Andrew suddenly smiled. He looked at me with a bitter smile. I should be responsible for what I have done. Selena, it's my fault to slander you. I'm willing to pay the price. I only ask you one thing. He paused and clenched his fists, looking a little uneasy. After I was taken away, if there is any news about Grandma, please tell me, okay? I looked at him and didn't agree or refuse. When the police arrived, the door of the operating room also opened. The doctor took off his mask while walking out. The patient was sent here in time. She is out of danger now. She just has a concussion. She will be fine after being hospitalized for observation for a few days. I breathed a sigh of relief. So did Andrew. I lowered my eyes and stopped Andrew when he was taken away by the police. I didn't have any backups. I just saved the chat records of this year. The reason why I said that was not that I felt sorry for him. I just wanted to tell him that I loved and trusted him without reservation as always. He let go of my hand first. In a distance, Andrew hunched his back slightly and his shoulder trembled. After a long time, he straightened his back and said softly, I see.